Imagine, just for a moment, standing at the absolute apex of the world's most iconic man-made archipelago. You're elevated above the Arabian Gulf, and as the sun begins to set, the sky just shifts into these brilliant shades of amber and violet.
It really is an unparalleled view.
Right, and to your left, you have the endless tranquil horizon of the turquoise water, and then to your right, the glittering, sky-scraping silhouette of the Dubai skyline. You aren't just looking at a view, you know. You're standing at the very center of a masterpiece.
Absolutely. You're at the center of it all.
But this isn't a museum. This is a home. Today, we are doing a deep dive into a project that fundamentally transcends traditional real estate. We are looking at the ORLA project by Dorchester Collection, Dubai.
It is an absolute privilege to explore this today because, well, what we have in front of us is a visionary creation by OMNIYAT. And they are a developer deeply dedicated to what they call the art of elevation.
The art of elevation. I love that phrasing.
It's powerful, right?
Yeah.
And when you look closely at the plans, the architecture, the entire operational structure, you realize that it isn't merely a marketing phrase. I mean, it is the guiding philosophy behind every single decision made in this project.
Every detail.
Exactly. The ORLA project represents this incredibly rare, almost unprecedented synthesis. You have the visionary ambition of OMNIYAT, the undisputed architectural genius of Foster & Partners, and of course the legendary hospitality of the Dorchester Collection.
All converging on a single point on the map.
Right. All in one place.
And that point on the map is what makes this so captivating. If you're joining us for this exploration, you might already know that we are talking about a trophy residence. It's located on a highly coveted 29,000 square meter private beachfront plot.
A massive plot.
Huge. But what we're really going to uncover today is how the ORLA project creates a completely closed-loop 5-star lifestyle for the ultra-high net worth individual.
Which is really the pinnacle of luxury living right now.
Yeah, exactly. We are looking at how a physical space can actually anticipate your needs, surround you with impeccable design, and offer a level of profound privacy that is essentially unheard of in a major global metropolis. So let's start with the canvas itself, because without this specific piece of land, none of this works, right?
No, it doesn't. To truly understand the gravity of the ORLA project, we have to start with the land. Because scarcity is the ultimate metric of value in ultra-luxury real estate.
Right, you can't just manufacture more of it.
Precisely. You can build a beautiful structure anywhere, but you cannot manufacture prime geographical positioning. And there is perhaps no land more finite, more globally recognized, and more highly sought after than the crescent of Palm Jumeirah.
It's iconic.
It is. And the ORLA project sits at the absolute pinnacle, the apex of the West Crescent.
I want to pause on that for a second because, you know, apex sounds great on paper, but what does that geometric position actually do for the person living there? Like, why is the tip of the crescent so much more valuable than a plot just a mile down the same road?
Well, it is all about the line of sight and the lack of obstruction. When you are on the apex, you are essentially jutting out into the sea, separated from the rest of the development.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, so this specific positioning is what allows for those uninterrupted 270-degree views. In a standard luxury waterfront property, you might have a 90-degree or perhaps a 180-degree view if you're really lucky.
Sure.
But at the apex of Palm Jumeirah, you're uniquely situated to experience both the sunrise over the vibrant city skyline and the sunset over the open ocean every single day.
Wow. Sunrise and sunset from the same residence.
Exactly. There is no future development that can block that view. The Arabian Gulf is your permanent neighbor.
The ultimate stage. And to build upon that stage, OMNIYAT brought in Foster & Partners. Now, for anyone who follows global architecture, that name carries immense weight.
Oh, absolutely. Heavyweights in the industry.
Right. This is the internationally acclaimed studio behind iconic paradigm-shifting structures. We are talking about the Apple headquarters in California, the Mla Viaduct in France, the Gherkin in London. But looking at the renderings for the ORL project, this doesn't look like a standard high-tech corporate tower. It looks completely distinct.
It is entirely distinct because, well, Foster & Partners approaches residential architecture through a very different lens than their commercial projects.
Makes sense.
For the ORLA project, they've designed 3 interconnected, staggered towers that are linked together to create a single, dramatic, flowing form. And the key to understanding this design is their organic by design philosophy.
Organic by design.
Right. Foster Partners did not just design a visually stunning facade to look good on a brochure. They engineered a building that actually breathes with its environment.
Okay, wait, I have to push back on that a little bit. A building that breathes sounds beautifully poetic, but mechanically speaking, how does dropping a massive complex of concrete, steel, and glass onto a beachfront actually breathe? I mean, how are they manipulating the environment without just creating a giant wind tunnel?
That is exactly where the genius of the staggered design comes into play. It relies on a principle of aerodynamics and thermodynamics.
Okay, I'm following.
If you build a solid flat wall of towers, the wind hits it and either goes around or creates these harsh, turbulent downdrafts. But by staggering the three interconnected towers, stepping them back and angling them specifically, they essentially create calculated pressure differentials.
Oh, wow. So it's highly engineered.
Highly. The architecture literally catches the cooling sea breezes coming off the Arabian Gulf and channels them gently through the residences and the expansive outdoor terraces. It naturally lowers the ambient temperature of those outdoor living spaces.
So they are effectively sculpting the wind. They are using the massive physical structure of the towers to manipulate natural airflow. So when you step out onto your terrace in the afternoon, it feels completely different than if you were standing on a flat balcony somewhere else.
Precisely. It is architectural climate control. And they combine that manipulation of wind and sun with incredible landscaping. Renowned landscape designer Vladimir Jurovich was brought in to seamlessly integrate flowing water features and lush, dense greenery throughout the property.
I saw the renderings of the gardens. They're stunning.
They really are. The goal was to entirely erase the boundary between the built environment and nature. The water features aren't just decorative, They add evaporative cooling to those breezes.
Of course.
It is designed to let positive energy flow unhindered through the property, creating this microclimate of pure tranquility.
That level of intentionality is fascinating. It elevates the psychological feeling of a home when the natural elements are manipulated so masterfully for your comfort. I mean, you aren't fighting the environment, the building is harmonizing with it, but how does that massive exterior integration translate to the actual living spaces? What is the human experience once you step inside?
The immediate sensation is a profound sense of sanctuary and scale. And this brings us to the extreme limitation and individuality of the project.
Right, because there aren't that many of them.
Exactly. The ORLA project is the furthest thing from a mass-produced luxury high-rise. OMNIYAT made a very conscious decision to prioritize volume and uniqueness over density. The project offers a strictly limited series of roughly 85 residences.
Only 85? That's incredibly boutique for a structure of this scale.
It is. And within that collection, there are 3 sky palaces ranging from a staggering 35,000 to 50,000 square feet.
Let that sink in for a moment. Up to 50,000 square feet for a sky palace. I mean, that is the size of a luxury boutique hotel, but it is a single private residence suspended in the sky. And then there's the crown jewel, right?
Yes, there is. Beyond the sky palaces, there's one singular, bespoke mega mansion. This specific property spans up to 62,000 square feet.
Wait, 62,000 square feet?
Yes. It features 6 to 7 bedrooms, boasts its own private beach access, and is valued at 450 million AED.
Unbelievable.
Furthermore, because of that staggered architecture we just discussed, no 2 layouts in the entire project are quite alike. Each residence provides a distinct canvas for the owner to imprint their personal vision. You are not buying a replicated floor plan. You are acquiring a unique spatial arrangement.
I was looking through the specifications, and the sheer sense of space is almost difficult to conceptualize until you realize the dimensions. We are talking about double-height living areas soaring up to 6.5 meters.
It's palatial.
It really is. To put that in perspective for you listening, a standard luxury apartment ceiling might be 3 meters. These are palatial proportions.
They truly are. And when you pair a 6.5-meter ceiling with oversized floor-to-ceiling glass windows, the effect is transformative. The glazing technology used here provides perfect optical clarity while managing the intense solar heat.
Right, because the Dubai sun is no joke.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it effectively dissolves the wall between your living room and the Arabian Gulf. You're safely cocooned in a climate-controlled environment, but your visual reality is the endless horizon of the sea.
And the interior finishings match that architectural ambition. You don't build a 6.5-meter high living room and, put in standard cabinets. The plans show bespoke designs by Yodazine, which is an incredibly respected interior design studio.
Yes, very well known for dramatic, moody, and highly textural aesthetics.
Right. You have fully fitted Italian kitchens from Varenna by Poliform, which is the absolute apex of culinary craftsmanship. The appliances are the highest caliber European models, perfectly integrated into state-of-the-art home automation systems.
And it goes beyond just the big names. Every single tactile detail, from the weight of the doors to the oversized glass glazing, down to the natural stone finishes, is curated to beautifully blend indoor and outdoor spaces.
The attention to detail is staggering.
And those enormous terraces we mentioned, they feature their own private pools, creating a seamless transition from your living room to your private pool to the ocean beyond.
It is stunning. But as we look at this, I keep coming back to a practical reality. The physical space is undeniably breathtaking, but a shell, no matter how beautiful, doesn't run itself.
Very true.
When a space is this massive 62,000 square feet for the mega mansion or even the 10,000 square foot residences, how do you actually live in it without feeling like you are running a hotel? Managing a property of that scale requires a small army of staff, which usually means sacrificing your privacy.
And that is the exact pivot point that makes the ORLA project a global standout. The architecture is only half of the equation. To truly understand this project, we must look at what happens when flawless architecture meets legendary, invisible service. This is where the brand halo of Dorchester Collection changes everything.
Let's really dig into this because I think the phrase luxury service is thrown around so casually in real estate marketing that it has almost lost its meaning. For those who truly understand elite hospitality, Dorchester Collection is not just a standard building management company that puts a nice suit on a lobby attendant.
Not at all. Dorchester Collection is the operator of some of the world's most iconic, historically significant grand hotels. We're talking about the Dorchester in London, Hotel Plaza Athénée in Paris, the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Legendary institutions.
Absolutely. They bring an uncompromising standard of excellence that has been refined over nearly a century of serving royalty, heads of state, and the global elite. When you acquire a residence at ORLA, you're not just buying square footage on Palm Jumeirah.
You're buying the lifestyle.
You're integrating your daily life into a perpetual five-star experience. The property is managed entirely by Dorchester Collection.
So practically speaking, what does that mean for the person waking up in one of these residences on, say, a Tuesday morning?
It means a legendary service you would expect in their iconic hotels worldwide is available to you at home 365 days a year. You have a 247 residence concierge, dedicated doormen, and porter services greeting you.
Right.
You have a personal valet and car grooming services. There is meticulous housekeeping tailored to your exact schedule, bespoke floristry to ensure your residence is always vibrant, and an extensive menu of a la carte services spanning everything from private catering to event planning.
Wait, let me stop you there because here's my question. I hear the phrase invisible service and I think of ghosts. How is a housekeeper or a butler actually invisible in my home? If I have a massive residence and I want privacy with my family, how does Dorchester Collection deliver all of this without me constantly bumping into staff in my own hallway?
It comes down to the brilliant integration of architecture and operational protocol. First, the architecture of the residences at ORLA incorporates dedicated back-of-house flows.
Back-of-house flows in a private residence?
Yes, there are separate service elevators, discrete service entrances, and cleverly concealed corridors that allow staff to enter, perform their duties, and exit without ever crossing paths with the primary living spaces while the family is present.
That is incredible.
And second, it is about the Dorchester Collection's predictive culture.
Predictive culture, what do you mean by that?
Well, standard luxury living is reactive. A concierge at a high-end building might be very helpful. You call them, they book you a taxi, they secure a restaurant reservation. But the Dorchester Collection ecosystem is entirely different. It is a proactive, invisible choreography.
Invisible choreography, I like that.
They anticipate your needs before you even articulate them. They study your preferences. The valet knows exactly when you prefer your car brought around based on your daily routine. The concierge understands your exact preferences for the temperature and lighting of your residence upon returning home from a trip.
I love that distinction. Is the difference between having someone who can fix a problem and someone who ensures the problem never exists in the first place.
Precisely.
Imagine you decide on a whim to host a 50-person dinner party at 2 a.m. In a standard mega villa, that is a logistical nightmare for the owner. You have to wake up your estate manager, coordinate caterers, arrange security.
Exactly. It's stressful.
Yeah.
But in the ORLA project, you make one phone call to the Dorchester Collection residential manager.
Just one call.
One call. They handle the private chefs, the floral arrangements, the valet for 50 cars, the seamless security clearance for guests, all executed flawlessly while you simply focus on hosting. It operates much like a highly efficient family office, where the operational friction of daily life is completely absorbed by a dedicated, hyper-competent team.
And because this is your private residence, this service is delivered with profound security. The sanctity of your private life is the ultimate priority.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is the ultimate luxury of modern life. You receive the personalized attention, the grandeur, and the prestige of stepping into a vast, elevated, perfectly appointed lobby, but you never have to sacrifice the absolute privacy of your own home.
Best of both worlds.
Exactly. The management ensures that the environment remains pristine, secure, and exclusively tailored to the residents.
It is flawless, frictionless living. But that frictionless living extends far beyond the front door of your residence. It permeates every square foot of the lush waterfront grounds. If I am stepping out of my private elevator and heading down to the ground level, what exactly am I stepping into? Because this isn't just a lobby and a gym.
No, it is a micro-city of leisure. When you step out, you are entering a resident-only ecosystem that rivals the finest resorts on Earth.
A micro city. Let's talk about that.
Let's start with the water. The ORLA project features a 150-meter private beachfront. And this is where OMNIYAT's dedication to the art of elevation becomes incredibly granular. The sand on this beach isn't just local dredge sand, it is imported Maldives sand.
I read that in the notes, and I have to ask, if you are building a beach in Dubai, a city literally surrounded by desert and ocean, why on earth would you import sand from the Maldives? Isn't sand just sand?
Sand is absolutely not just sand, especially when you are engineering a barefoot luxury experience.
Okay, educate me.
Local quartz-based sand absorbs and retains severe heat during the Dubai summer, making it extremely uncomfortable to walk on. Coralline sand from the Maldives is remarkably different. It has incredibly soft texture, it remains remarkably cool to the touch even under direct sunlight, and it boasts a blindingly white aesthetic that perfectly contrasts with the turquoise water.
Wow. It remains cool to the touch.
Exactly. It's a sensory detail that most developers would overlook, but OMNIYAT insists upon it.
That is the definition of uncompromising. So you have this pristine, cool white sand framed by lush Bali-style landscaping. What else is on this private shoreline?
You have the sprawling ORLA Beach Club, which offers both indoor and outdoor dining, curated by Dorchester Collection. Adjacent to the beach is a massive 800-square-meter temperature-controlled infinity pool.
800 square meters. That's massive.
Lined with luxurious, fully serviced cabanas. For context, 800 square meters is an aquatic playground of epic proportions. And if you prefer to swim indoors away from the sun, there is a serene 25-meter indoor lap pool.
Oh, nice.
There's even a private jetty for aquatic arrivals or departures. You can step off your yacht directly onto your private estate.
It is staggering. And the amenities elevate every facet of an elite lifestyle. We aren't just talking about a couple of treadmills and a basement room. Residents have access to a state-of-the-art fitness center, tranquil dedicated studios for yoga and cycling, and a world-class spa.
The spa is a perfect example of the scale of this project. It isn't just a single massage room. It features extensive treatment rooms, a salon, sauna and steam rooms, plunge pools, and jacuzzis.
A full wellness retreat.
It is. It's a comprehensive wellness retreat where you can bring in the world's best therapists to treat you within the security of your own building.
And the leisure spaces are equally extraordinary. You have Dubai's first resident-only cigar lounge, designed specifically for sophisticated relaxation and private meetings.
A very rare amenity.
There are up to 3 private cinemas. There is an upscale bowling alley that looks more like a piece of modern art than a sports facility. You have a beautifully appointed library lounge, a collaborative business center with boardrooms for when you need to conduct global business without leaving the sanctuary of home, and even a dedicated pet grooming salon.
And this brings us to a crucial differentiator that cannot be overstated. It is the key to understanding the value proposition of the ORLA project.
Okay, what is it?
These are strictly resident-only amenities.
Explain why that is so vital. Because many branded residences sit on top of the brand's hotel, right? So what's the difference?
Exactly. In most branded residences, the residential tower is an appendage to a massive luxury hotel. The residents get to use the hotel amenities, which sounds great in theory, but in practice, it means sharing your pool, your spa, and your beach with hundreds of transient hotel guests.
Right. It gets crowded.
The atmosphere is energetic, but it is not private. At the ORLA project, there is no hotel attached to this specific footprint. There are no transient hotel guests. The exclusivity is absolute. You are sharing this vast, incredible infrastructure with only a very limited number of like-minded owners.
Looking at all of this, the scale, the service, the infrastructure, the ORLA project functions almost like a land-based super yacht.
That's a brilliant way to put it.
Right. On a super yacht, you have an entirely self-contained world. You have an incredible staff-to-guest ratio. You have spas, cinemas, and dining, all functioning flawlessly below deck so the owner only ever experiences the magic. If you are an ultra-high net worth individual looking at Dubai, why are you demanding this specific type of closed-loop microcity rather than just buying a massive, isolated, standalone compound in a suburban neighborhood?
That is the defining question of modern ultra-luxury real estate. The ultra-wealthy value two things above all else: time and privacy.
Time and privacy.
A standalone megavilla, no matter how grand or beautiful, requires intense management. It requires staffing, maintenance, landscaping, and rigorous security protocols. Operating a standalone estate is essentially running a small corporation.
Yeah, that sounds exhausting.
It is. And all of that demands the owner's time, attention, and mental bandwidth.
Right, you become a property manager instead of a resident.
Exactly. A project like ORLA outsources all of that friction to the Dorchester Collection. Furthermore, the level of amenities we just discussed, the 150-meter private beach with Maldives sand, the commercial-grade spa, the multiple cinemas, the bowling alley, these are virtually impossible to replicate at this scale in a single standalone home without an exorbitant, ongoing operational nightmare.
It wouldn't make sense.
No. Here, the infrastructure is vast, the service is invisible, and the privacy is guaranteed by the sheer exclusivity of the resident-only model. You get the scale of a resort with the privacy of a fortress.
Which brings us to the realization that when you combine finite beachfront land on the apex of Palm Jumeirah, the architectural genius of Foster & Partners, the legendary service of Dorchester Collection, and this entirely private ecosystem, you are no longer just talking about a place to live. You're talking about a highly coveted asset. Let's look at this as an investment in rarity.
Analyzing the intrinsic value of the ORLA project requires looking at its unique market position. It commands intense attention from ultra-high net worth buyers and long-term collectors of rare real estate because it fulfills a very specific, highly demanding set of criteria that is incredibly difficult to replicate.
It is the rare combination equation.
Precisely. The value equation here is built on irreplaceable pillars. First, it is Palm Jumeirah, which is a finite, globally iconic location where prime beachfront land is fundamentally exhausted.
There's just no more land.
None. Second, it is OMNIYAT, a developer with an unyielding pedigree and a track record of architectural landmarks. Third, it is Foster & Partners, providing starchitect-level design that pushes the boundaries of environmental engineering.
And the fourth pillar.
Fourth, it is Dorchester Collection, guaranteeing elite, enduring service that protects the physical asset and elevates the lifestyle. Add to that the highly limited number of residences and the private beachfront, and you have an asset class entirely of its own.
If you're listening to this, I think it really helps to reframe the concept of this real estate using the art world as a lens. When you look at the ORLA project, acquiring a residence here is less like buying property on a standard price per square foot basis and much more like securing a limited edition masterpiece.
Absolutely.
It is a blue chip trophy asset. It is something that holds profound intrinsic value and can be passed down through generations, just like a priceless sculpture, a rare timepiece, or a museum quality painting. You are collecting a piece of Dubai's architectural history.
That analogy is highly accurate. You are acquiring a legacy. And OMNIYAT has structured the acquisition process to reflect that level of sophistication and confidence.
How so?
The payment structure is elegantly designed for serious buyers. It begins with a 5% booking fee, followed by tiered payments reaching up to 50% upon the completion date. It is a measured, confident approach. There is no frantic rush. It aligns perfectly with the careful, deliberate acquisition of legacy asset.
It is a structure that speaks to the profound confidence in the project's enduring value from the developer side. They know exactly what they are building, and they know exactly who they are building it for.
They do.
Every single element we have discussed today, from the aerodynamic sculpting of the towers to the temperature of the sand, from the seamless automation to the proactive brilliance of the Dorchester Collection concierge, has been curated to create the ultimate closed level of living.
The ORLA project is a place where cutting-edge, environmentally responsive architecture, the legendary intuitive service of the Dorchester Collection, profound privacy, an exclusive pristine beach, and extreme product rarity all operate flawlessly as a single unified system.
Flawlessly.
It is, without question, a trophy residence for the buyer who looks far beyond mere square footage and views, seeking instead an environment that perfectly mirrors their own uncompromising standards of excellence.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to ponder long after this deep dive concludes. When a residence anticipates your every conceivable need before you even have to speak it, when it perfectly, seamlessly blurs the line between visionary architecture and the absolute tranquility of nature, and when it provides the legendary